I started investing in mutual funds in 2006. Back then, I had a mutual fund advisor who would advise me on which funds to invest in, and he also handheld my mutual fund portfolio. Whenever market corrected, he would promptly call me and ask me not to panic. In fact, he even gave me valid reasons as to why I should stay invested in the market. But as I gained more experience in stock markets and investments, I relied lesser and lesser on his advice, and I started developing conviction on my own investment theses. But along the way, I had a constant dilemma. Should I continue my relationship with the mutual fund advisor, or should I branch out on my own? Eventually, roughly after 10 years, I decided to end my relation with mutual fund advisor and take things on my own. If you have interest in mutual funds and if you invest in mutual funds, then I'm fairly certain you will have this dilemma too. Should you invest in mutual funds directly, or should you opt for a mutual fund advisor? For those of you who are not aware, every mutual fund comes to you in two forms, the direct form and the regular form. Take this for example. This is Kotak Multi-Cap Growth Fund. And as you can see, the same fund is available to you in regular and direct form. If you ask a mutual fund investor to help you invest in mutual funds, then he or she is likely to ask you a set of questions, make an assessment on your financial state, and then stitch together a mutual fund portfolio. The mutual funds that they would recommend is most likely a regular mutual fund. When you take this investment advice from a mutual fund advisor and make investments in a regular fund, then a small portion of your investment is taken out by the asset management company and passed on to the mutual fund advisor as his or her commission. And that's how your mutual fund advisor will make money. Alternatively, you can choose to do this on your own. When you do this, you don't invest in a regular fund, but rather you would invest in a direct fund. It is common knowledge that when you invest in a direct fund, you save more money, which means to say your returns are higher. I will not get into the math of comparing returns between direct and mutual fund. There is enough and more out there. Given this, often there is a raging debate as to which one is good for you. Should you invest directly, or should you opt for an advisor and invest in a regular fund? Well, the answer to this really depends on your understanding of markets. In my opinion, direct funds is not for everyone. If you spend time understanding the markets, understanding different types of mutual funds, different market cycles, and have the discipline to stay invested throughout the market's peaks and valleys, then don't waste your time and money on a distributor. It's best if you invest in mutual funds directly. But from what I see, a vast majority of investors are super confused with mutual funds. They lack the skills to analyze a mutual funds and the ability to stitch together a mutual fund portfolio to meet specific financial goals. They panic when they see the slightest corrections in markets and pull out their mutual fund investments. Or if they see big moves in the market, they invest recklessly and invest everything that they have, often driven by greed. If you belong to this camp, then it makes sense to get a mutual fund advisor for yourself who will help you through these market cycles and also help you with your investments. Yes, your returns will be slightly lower when compared to direct funds, but the benefits you get by opting for an advisor far outweighs the savings you would make. But here is the thing, when you select a mutual fund advisor, ensure the mutual fund advisor is worthy of your money. Here are a few things that you should keep in mind before you select a mutual fund advisor. Firstly, ensure your mutual fund advisor has all the necessary qualifications and the relevant experience. Ensure it was not someone who was selling groceries yesterday and today opting to sell mutual funds. Second, make sure your mutual fund advisor has seen and experienced market cycles. After all, you're depending on your mutual fund advisor to handhold you when markets change cycles. If the advisor has not seen and experienced cycles, then his advice would hardly hold any weight. Extending on the second point, do not hesitate to ask your mutual fund advisor how they managed other clients during extensive corrections in the market. Ask what was the client's behavior and what was the distributor's reaction to that. Check for your mutual fund advisor's competency. Your mutual fund advisor should have a broad understanding of different sectors, industries, broad macroeconomic indicators, risk factor, and investment themes. Lastly, do not hesitate to judge your mutual fund advisor on your yardstick of a good human being. After all, this person is responsible for your hard-earned money. If the advisor does not have your well-being at heart, then that could be a problem. If the mutual fund advisor qualifies on all these parameters, then gladly go ahead and sign them up as your advisor to manage your funds. If you've been dealing with mutual fund advisors, then let us know in comments what is that one characteristic that helps you immensely. I'm sure the community will benefit from it. Happy investing.